his Dark Materials trilogy. If you haven't heard about this, they were pulled off the shelves of 2 Catholic school boards because the author is an atheist. We feel books should not be pulled down for that reason, or many other reasons, as you can imagine. So we've written a very strong press release supporting reinstating those books, and we encourage you to support our campaign in defense of those books in all schools. There are sheets also on that table which include our press release, and also very simple ways you can support what we do. A quick letter to the editor or a quick phone call registering your outrage at what's happening. So do take advantage of that. And I promise this really is the last thing I'm going to say before I introduce Dr. Kurtz, which is that we have food and beverages for sale at the back, water, pop, etc., some snack as well. And if you are interested in taking advantage of that, I think we'll have a short intermission before the Q&A, and also after at the end of the event, so you can go to the back and get what you like. I'm going to introduce our speaker now. Dr. Paul Kurtz is Professor Emeritus of Philosophy at the State University of New York at Buffalo. He's also the chairman of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, formerly SciCop, the Council for Secular Humanism, and Prometheus Books, and he's editor-in-chief of Free Inquiry magazine. On top of all of that, he is founder and chairman of the Center for Inquiry Transnational. Dr. Kurtz is considered by many as one of the founders of modern humanism, and is largely credited with the secularization of humanism. As a strong believer that religious skepticism is not enough in our movement, Dr. Kurtz coined the term eupraxiphy, meaning good practice and wisdom, to refer to a worldview based on living an ethical and exuberant life, relying on rationality rather than revelation. Dr. Kurtz is a former co-president of the International Humanist and Ethical Union, from which he received the International Humanist Award in 1999. He's a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and Humanist Laureate and President of the International Academy of Humanism. He's the author or editor of 45 books, some of which are here on sale today, and over 800 articles and reviews. He has appeared on many major TV and radio programs in North America and worldwide. Kurtz is the publisher of over 650 articles or reviews, and has authored and edited over 40 books I mentioned. Dr. Kurtz is the founder and driving force behind the expansion of the Center for Inquiry, having long desired to spread the institutionalization of secular humanism and skepticism throughout the world. He has for many years desired such an outpost in our city of Toronto, and it's a great pleasure to be working alongside him at this exciting branch here in front of you. So with that, I'd like for you to join me in welcoming our distinguished speaker of the evening, Dr. Paul Kurtz.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you for the great job you have done in building this center. And thanks also especially to George Baker and Don Cullen, who for at least a decade have been coming down to Amherst, which had been known as the safest town in America. City above 100,000 population, now it's only number 4, fallen down, and trying to get us to come to Canada and help found a Center for Inquiry. This is a Canadian center, it's not an American center, but we're very pleased to have the new Center for Inquiry, and very pleased to see many people that I know. How many people read the Skeptical Inquirer here? Okay, a goodly number. How many people read Free Inquiry magazine? Also a goodly number. So we do have, and have had, thousands of readers over the years throughout Canada. What is the Center for Inquiry? It's committed to science, reason, and free inquiry in every area of human interest, and it also focuses on the need for secularism, a secular society, and the development of humanist ethical values based upon science and reason. Does that sound radical? No, it seems eminently important, and we've been attempting to found centers all over the world. Now, we are a coalition. Is that not high enough? Okay, okay. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Now, we are a coalition, a federation. We include the Committee for the Scientific Investigation of Claims of the Paranormal, now shortened because the paranormal has been declining a bit, but is still there, to the Committee for Scientific Inquiry, for the Council for Secular Humanism. We include the American Rationalists. We include Africans for Humanism, SOS, which means an organization for secular organizations for sobriety, Prometheus Books, the largest free thought publishing company in the world, and many more. Today, we find the emergence of anti-scientific attitudes, even in this wonderful country, Canada, especially in that unbenighted province beneath us, the United States. I say that because I was introduced to two people who recently escaped from the United States and settled in Canada and invited me to consider coming to Canada. My wife is French. She's a French citizen. At the moment she's in Paris, and my children are bilingual. So we are international citoyens du monde. And that's really important to point out. And so we're attempting to develop a new transnational, we call it, beyond national frontiers. Now, would you put on the first slide? And let me introduce Nathan Bupp. Would you please stand up, Nathan? He's our Vice President for Communications and Public Relations, and he's assisting me with that machine. But you see, here is a story of Americans going back, escaping to England, where they're fleeing religious orthodoxy in the United States, and we feel that way. And we're very apologetic, incidentally, at what is happening in the United States today. Many consider it to be a great tragedy. And everywhere I go, I find people so critical of the developments in our country. Now I cannot see my notes. I need to put on my glasses. I'm an octogenarian, you know, and there are two things that I need: glasses and hearing aids. And I found out I can do without much less sex. Not too much less, but I can't do without hearing aids and glasses. Did you hear the news tonight that there was a fire in the presidential library? Have you heard that in the United States? Yes. The president's 2 books were burned. And he was particularly disturbed because he hadn't finished his coloring book. Charlie Rangel, who I like very much, a New York representative, said that after Bush, one should never talk about white supremacy. I've just returned from a meeting, and I see some of you were there, at the New York Academy of Sciences. We work closely with that organization, which is on the 40th floor of the first new building over 9/11, that tragic event that happened in the name of God. And the theme was the secular society and its enemies. A very inspiring meeting. And one thing that came out of that, these are very serious times, and I want you to remember 5 religious truths. First, Muslims do not recognize Jews as God's chosen people. Jews do not recognize Jesus as the Messiah. Protestants do not recognize the Pope as the leader of the Christian world. And Baptists do not recognize each other at Hooters. Well, now, answer is business. We are founding centers for inquiry. We think we need a new enlightenment in the world. The great enlightenment of the 18th century was limited to Europe. And now it has to be carried transnational.